In the long and storied history of video games, we've seen masterpieces that have shaped generations. And then, we've seen the opposite. Yes, these games are so bad, so broken, and so hilariously misguided that they've kinda been immortalized online. So today, we'd be looking at some of the worst video games that were ever made. The ones that scored so low that they literally fell through the floor. You'd think a Superman game would be an easy win, right? You've got flying, super strength, laser eyes, all the hero stuff. But 1999 Superman, the new Superman Adventures, better known as Superman 64, managed to turn all that potential into pure pain. With an empty world, impossible controls, and endless fly through the rings levels, this game became a textbook case of how not to design fun. Its IMDb score is somewhere around 1.3 out of 10. Now, with a score so low, even Lex Luthor wouldn't want to try this one. Released in the same year as Super Mario 64, BuzzFeed 3D tried to ride the wave of 3D platforming and immediately drowned. The game had terrible controls, horrifying visuals, and voice lines that would make you question your own speakers. Its legacy? Internet fame, but for all the wrong reasons. BuzzFeed now lives on in memes and mock remasters like BuzzFeed 4D. With a horribly low IMDb score of 2 out of 10, BuzzFeed 3D is truly a hero who did not land on his feet. At all. When you hear the words "Right to Hell Retribution," you immediately picture motorcycles, gangs, heavy metal. Now, this entire recipe makes up the ultimate outlaw fantasy. But Right to Hell Retribution was an open world disaster that delivered absolutely nothing. The game was riddled with glitches, featured awful combat, and to top it off, it had cringe-inducing dialogues. Overall, this game wasn't really a ride to hell. It was more like crashing right into it. Celebrity tie-ins don't always work out. Now, when Shaquille O'Neal stepped into the ring with Shaq Fu, the result was one of the worst fighting games ever created. Poor hit detection, awkward animations, and a story that made no sense at all. Shaq may dominate on the court, but in combat games, maybe not so much. The IMDb rated it a 3 out of 10 though, and honestly, the rating feels a bit generous at this point. You'd think a stealth game about Golem would be at least interesting and would live up to the hype that the Middle-earth series created. However, the Lord of the Rings Golem turned out to be a bug-riddled mess that even my freshers wouldn't want. Graphical glitches, poor AI, and performance issues made this a ring that no one would want to bear. The IMDb rated it a 2.1, marking it as a game to rule them all, but in failure. Believe it or not, Nintendo once let another company make Zelda games. The result? The Wand of Gamelon for the Philips CDI. Terrible animation, weird voice acting, and a rough gameplay made it into a legend, but for all the wrong reasons. Well, at least its absurd cutscenes became meme gold. The IMDb rated it a 4.2 out of 10, which makes us wonder, what were the guys even thinking? It sounds epic, Rise of Kong, but when players got their hands on it, King Kong jumped off a cliff and face-planted himself. Skull Island Rise of Kong became infamous for one viral moment, a cutscene that uses an actual JPG image as animation. Now, the IMDb rated it a 1.8 out of 10, but can you really blame them? Let's face it, we've all used trainers in Need for Speed games to prevent our opponents from racing us on the track. But what if I told you there's a game which did that by default? Yes, in big rigs, over-the-road racing, your competitor's AI is broken, collisions don't exist, and you can literally drive through mountains. It's so bad, it's broken past bad, and it's yeeted itself into oblivion. When Square Enix and Platinum Games team up, expectations are bound to skyrocket. Unfortunately, with Babylon's fall, everything came crashing down. Lifeless gameplay, dull art, and a failed live service model forced the creators to shut the service down in just 1 year. Although IMDb rated it a 3.8, this game was meant to climb heavens. But it hit rock bottom pretty quickly. The final entry on this list is Mind's Eye. The 2025 hype machine from Leslie Benzies, the GTA genius himself, promised a mind-bending open-world thriller with neural powers and Mafia 3-star Alex Hernandez. What players got? A glitch apocalypse, clipping through walls, quests that vaporized, AI dumber than the bag of hammers, and devs publicly finger-pointing at saboteurs like a bad reality show. Yes, IMDb gave it a 4 out of 10, but this game just proves that even Rockstar dreams can belly flop into legendarily bad territory. So there you have it, 10 of the worst video games ever made. They may have failed spectacularly, but they've earned permanent places in gaming infamy, because sometimes the greatest comedy isn't found in success, but in a total, glitchy, glorious failure. Which one of these disasters have you actually played? Drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more gaming nostalgia, the good and the bad.